Hi, this is Sweet June. I'm coming back at you with another video topic. Hope everybody's having a blessed day. I'm doing great, hanging in there. I wanted to tell this is a warning video for single moms. Single mothers, these are the type of men that you should avoid at all costs. I compiled a little list of the type of men that single mothers should avoid. I spent many years being a single mother, and of course, I stopped dating years ago. But when I was kind of dating and everything, there some people I ran into, some guys that I ran into wasn't no good or whatever. Um, I encountered certain types of men that wasn't in my best interest, and so I just want to educate the single moms and let the single mothers know to beware. And as a single mother, you have to be careful who you bringing around your children. You can't just be bringing anybody around your kids. You have to use discernment and the type of men that it's very difficult to date as a single mom. It really is, because you do have to be careful who you're bringing around your kids. You can't just bring anybody around your kids, and you can't allow your kids to see you with different men. It's not good for your children to see you with different partners and different men. And so, um, just as a single mother, you just have to be really, really careful and use discernment and everything like that. And hoping you guys can hear me over that lawnmower over there. But these are the types of men that single mothers should avoid: deadbeat dads, multiple baby mamas. Avoid these men at all costs. If you run into a guy, and you dating a guy, and he tells you that he has you know, more than two kids and he got more than two baby mamas, don't walk away from him, run away from him. Because first of all, if he's looking if he even if he is looking to get serious, even if he's looking to get serious and get into a serious relationship, um, if you get into a serious relationship with this guy, you may have to worry about baby mama drama. You may have to worry about drama. You don't know what type of situation he's in with these other baby mamas. Um, and so you don't want to get caught up in nothing like that. Um, even if he's the type of guy that he call himself taking care of his kids and call himself being there for his kids, and you get serious with this guy, well, you got to worry about him shelling out lots of money in child support and everything like that. And if he's shelling lots of money out in child support, then that's less money that he's going to have, um, to help you out or whatever the situation is. Or even if you even marry this guy, a good portion of his check is going to go towards child support. So now on the other end of the spectrum, if you're not serious, if this guy is, um, if he's a deadbeat dad, um, he's got multiple baby mamas, he's a deadbeat dad. Um, well, that's if he did these other women like that, he slept with these other women, had children with these other women, and he's not being a father, is not taking care of these other kids, or not being there. You got to do your research, ladies. When you dating these guys, you have to do your research. You have to check them out. If you're living in a smaller city, you can ask around about him. There's people that know him, will could tell you about him. There's all kinds of ways that you can find out information about men. And then another thing, you can always give it time. In time, you will find out everything you need to know about a man in time, but you have to give it time. You can't just jump up and rush into a relationship with a man. You got to give it time. If you and it, you know When I was doing my internet dating, I went through a little internet dating phase, And when I would meet guys, I would talk to certain ones on the phone, and I could tell just the type of person they was just by their conversation. Just listening and looking for key things in their conversation, I can pretty much tell what type of person they is. And if you're dating a guy and he has multiple baby mamas, and just listen to his conversation. There's certain things that he will tell you, um, if you take the time to get to know him and give it time. You will find out everything you need to know. He will tell you everything you need to know about him in time, but you got to give it time, and you can't rush into anything. And if he's a deadbeat dad, then you're in danger of becoming another baby mama. If you have, get sexually involved with this guy, he gets you pregnant, then you're in danger of becoming another one of his baby mamas. And you're in danger of him not being there for the child, not paying child support or whatever. So the best thing you can do is to just avoid those men altogether. My youngest son's dad, I didn't really try to go into all that, but he had more than two baby mamas when I met him. And unfortunately, I didn't find out a lot of things about him until after I found out I was pregnant. After I found out I was pregnant, then I found out a whole lot of stuff about him. And then he lied and misrepresented himself about some stuff too. So this is the reason why I tell you ladies to take your time. Take your time to get to know the man. And in time, he will tell you everything you need to know. And you will find out everything you need to know about him. But you got to give it time. And the best thing to do is if he's got multiple baby mamas and you know that off the rip, like I said, don't walk away from him, run away. He's not somebody you want to date, period. But if you want to proceed on, take your time to get to know him, whatever. But my suggestion is avoid him at all costs. As soon as my youngest son dad had told me that he had 5 kids, I should have ran, but I didn't. Excuse me. Another type of men to avoid is men that want to use you for sex. When you're a single mother, when you are a single mother, you have to be very, very careful and very cautious of guys that just want to use you for sex. See, a lot of these guys be running game out here, ladies. And these games that these guys be playing out here, they real. I mean, you got some slick men out here. If you're vulnerable, if you and sometimes they can pick up things about you. If you, um, it's best not to put yourself in a position to where you're vulnerable, because sometimes they can sniff things out. Some of these men are slick, and sometimes they can sniff things out, and they can pick up certain things about you. Like if you kind of thirsty, or like if you want to, you're eager to jump into a relationship, or um, they can pick up on that. Men can pick up on that stuff. They're smart in that sense. They can pick up on a lot of things like that. And so you got to make sure that you're not. You have to be careful of the kind of vibes that you're sending out there, and that you're not sending certain types of vibes out there that they can pick up on, or um, sending messages, certain messages out there that you're vulnerable or whatever. You don't want to send those messages out there because they can pick up on that stuff. And if they out here trying to pull a fast one, they'll zero in on you. So um, the thing with being a single mother, is there's a lot of guys out here that don't really want to get involved with a single mother. There's a lot of men that don't want to get involved with a single mom, but there are guys that will tell you that up front, or will send a message to you up front and be honest with you. Some of them will be honest with you and let you know that, well, I don't date single mothers. You can respect that. But there are guys out there, they really don't want to get involved with a single mother, but they will get involved with you anyway just to have sex with you. Those are the the grimiest ones of all. They will get involved with, they really don't want to be with a single mother, but they will get involved with you anyway just to use you for sex. They just They just get involved with you just to use you for sex. And if this guy gets you pregnant, then he's not going to stick by you. He's gonna walk away from you, and then you're going to be stuck raising another child alone. So you got to be aware of that, ladies. If he's too eager to, the first thing he asks you is, "Can I come over?" or whatever like that. Mm-mm, that's the number one sign. First of all, when a man approaches you, he should be asking you, "Would you like to come out to dinner with me, or have coffee with me, or something like that?" If the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "Can I come over?" or "Can you come over?" that's the number one sign right there. He might be looking to have sex because he's moving too fast. You shouldn't be going over some guy's house that you just met, or you shouldn't be letting some guy come over your house that you just met, first of all. So if he asks you, can he come over your house right off rip, as soon as he meets you, or you coming over to his house, that's usually typically a sign that he just wants to have sex with you. Now, if you're looking for a relationship that may possibly lead to marriage, which most single mothers are probably looking for that, then no, you don't want to get it. You don't want that. Now, well, if you're looking to have a good time, well, I guess, if you're looking to have a good time, I guess that's a different thing. But just be aware of that. Just be aware of those guys that, like I say, they really don't want to get involved with a single mother, but they will get involved with you, tell you the things that they want you to hear just to get in bed with you and just sleep with you. And the worst thing you can do is get pregnant by those guys. So beware of this. There's a lot of guys out here just wants to use single mothers just for sex. And I think that's why a lot of single mothers wind up getting pregnant again. They wind up getting pregnant multiple times because guys just want to use them for sex. And so as a single mother, that's something that you need to look out for. You need to be on the lookout for guys like that. Um, Another guy type of man to look out for is a hobosexual. I brought that up in one of my other videos. Hobosexual. I just think that's the funniest thing. The definition of a hobosexual is someone that doesn't have a home, a man that does not have a home. He does not have a place to stay. Um, he might be living with his mama, or worse, if he's living on the street, whatever. And he's looking for a woman to sack up with. If you're a single mother and you got a house or apartment or whatever, and he don't have a place to stay, he may be looking to date you so he can sack up with you and the kids, so he can move in on you and your kids. Be careful of that. So he'll tell you everything that you need, that you want to hear. Oh, baby, you my rider. I love you. Oh, you beautiful. First of all, you need to know your worth. You need to know you're already beautiful. You don't need a man to validate you in that way. God forbid if you do need to be validated in that way, you're in trouble. Okay. Oh, you beautiful, baby. Damn, you the finest thing I've ever seen in my life. You beautiful. Oh, baby, I love you. And they try to play that love stuff and try to you know throw that love stuff out there. Don't, ladies, don't fall for that. Don't fall for that love stuff now. He telling you he love you and he just met you. Come on. Come on, he just met you and he telling you he love you, he just met you. Come on, don't fall for that. He's telling you everything. And then some guys try to play the marriage card. They think a lot of women want to get married. Yeah, I want to get married and I want to start a family. If they say that stuff, they know that's what you want to hear as a woman. And you say, oh, you do, mm-hmm. And so, and they talk a good game. They talk a good game. And I want to get married. I want to do this. And you beautiful, and they say everything that you want to hear, everything that you want to hear. They might even make it look real good, and take you out, and try to, they kind of fake it till they make it a little bit, so they can manipulate you into letting you move into your house, so he can sack up on you and your kids. Okay, so don't fall for that. Don't fall for the okey doke. First of all, if he doesn't have it together, you meet him, he don't have it together. He needs to go get himself together before he go looking for a woman. Okay, so if he doesn't have a place to stay or whatever like that, well, he needs to go and work on those things before he seeks out a relationship with a woman. So that's, you know, so that's what they call homosexual. They getting good with you, and tell you everything you need that you want to hear and everything, just so they can get in your house. Don't fall for that, ladies. And another type of men to look out for is players. This should be a no-brainer for a lot of women, but Lord, sometimes, as women, particularly if you're young, you get lonely. If you don't know your worth, you're a young woman, and I know when I was younger in my 20s, I didn't really know my worth, and sometimes you're kind of thirsty in your 20s, sometimes 30s. You're kind of thirsty, and you're not really hip on all these games that these men run out here. And I know that I dated a guy. I had met this guy. I'm trying to make this long story short. I met this guy in my 20s. It was shortly after I broke up with my oldest son's dad. I met this guy, and he was from this little country town. He was from this little country town, uh, a city that's smaller, way smaller than this city that I live in. It's a little, I wouldn't even call it a city. It's a little country town. They don't have no buses. They don't have no. They got one cab with a wooden sign on it. It's a little country town. This guy was from a little country town. I was out shopping at the mall and I met this guy. And trying to make a long story short, but this is before in the 90s and before there was internet and cell phones and all that kind of stuff. And but this guy, he pulled a fast one on me. I just broke up with my oldest son's dad, and I was kind of in a vulnerable place. It was kind of at a vulnerable time in my life, and I was kind of lonely, very lonely, and was feeling like I was really, really wanting some companionship and everything at the time. It was kind of vulnerable at the time. And this guy, he zeroed in on that. And, I got to talking to him on the phone. He got to telling me everything I wanted to hear. Now, mind you, I'm only in my 20s. He got to telling me everything that I wanted to hear and everything like that. And, sweet talking me. He was living with his sister, which should have been a red flag for me, but it wasn't. um, and he's just sweetening up and everything, and telling me everything I want to hear, and and all this kind of stuff, and and I end up getting involved with him. Um, I keep hearing a noise, um, but I wind up getting sexually involved with him, and I fell head over heels in love with him. I just, you know, and come to find out, he had, to make a long story short, he had some women over there in that town he was messing with. And, he had a baby's mama, he had two kids. But then he had some other women in that town he was involved with. And then he had a woman in another city that's next to that town, on the other side of that town, that he was involved with. Now, I didn't find out all this until after my heart was already in there. And so this guy was just he was a total player. Straight up player. Little country bunking player. I mean, he I gotta give it to him. He had some game. So he pulled a fast one on me. And so uh I finally, you know, my friend helped me to uncover the truth about him, and I was devastated. Took me a while to get past it, but I did. I wised up and everything. But yeah, beware of those kind of guys. Beware of the kind of guys, of these players. They misrepresent themselves. They make it seem like they want to. He was telling me that he loved me. He was telling me that, you know, this. all kind of stuff, telling me everything that I wanted to hear. And he used to say, you my heartbeat girl, you my heartbeat girl. And he used to say all that stuff to me and all that kind of stuff. And I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And those are the type of the guys that you need to be aware of. They'll tell you everything that you want to hear. And some of them will even sweeten it up by, they'll take you out and they'll spend a little money. They can spend a little money on this man. Wasn't even spending no money on me. He didn't spend no money on me. Well, I must have really been vulnerable at that time. But some guys will sweeten the deal and they'll spend a little money on you. They'll take you out, wine you and dine you, everything, and make you feel real special. Give you some flowers and make you feel real special and everything. You make it, and then you thinking you the only one and everything, and he love you, he crazy about you and everything. Then next thing you know, you find out he got this one and that one and this one and that one. You know, you thinking by that time, unfortunately, most of the time when women find out about these guys, their heart is already in there. I mean, they're already head over heels in love with the guy. The guy got them hook, line, and sinker. And that's what they do. They want to get you, they want to get your heart in there. So they know you're going to be right there. When they get done messing with this one, they can come over to you, and they know you're going to be there because your heart is in there, you know? So they might be doing two or three other women the same way. But unfortunately, by the time you find out, your heart's already in there. You're already emotionally invested. That was the problem with this guy. I was already emotionally invested in him by the time I found out about all these women he was messing with. So just beware, ladies. Like I said, time is key. Time is a very important thing. When you are dating a man, time is very important. It's very important that you shouldn't be having sex outside of marriage anyway. But you need to wait. You need to wait for everything and take the time to get to know it. Take it really slow. Take the time to really get to know the guy because in time you will find out everything you need to know about that guy in time. Everything you need to know about him, you will find out in time. But you need to have your eyes open. And in order to have your eyes open, you got to take your time. You can't be so lonely and so vulnerable to where you're so quick to jump into a relationship that you just don't take your time. You want to rush into everything. Because if a guy just wants to rush, if he has a problem with you wanting to take your time and he want to rush into stuff, well, that's the number one sign right there that sums up. He trying to pull a fast one of why you want to rush things all of a sudden. You know what I mean? So, you know, if he's really serious about you, he doesn't have a problem with taking, you wanting to take time. So take the time to really get to know him. Get to know him on a platonic level and give it time. Because in time you will find out everything you need to know about a man if you give it time. Trust me in what I'm saying. Been there around the block. I know what I'm talking about. Just listen to your girl. Okay. Another type of man to avoid is players. Or not players. I already talked about that. Married men. Ladies, I did a whole video talking about that. Ladies, no, no, no. Married men are a no-no. First of all, it's adultery. It is a sin. Second of all, um, this is another woman's husband. Now, some of these men think they slick. They don't tell you that they're married. Now, them type of men, you really got to watch out for. Now, I'm gonna give you some clues. Now, you can find out whether a man is married or not. When people get married, it's public information. You can check with your city clerk office and they will tell you because they have marriage announcements in the newspaper all the time, which means it's public knowledge, public information. So you can check with your city clerk's office and give them the name or whatever, and you can find out if the man has a marriage license. That's one of the ways to find out the man's married. Another way you can detect. I met this guy, and I just simply looked at his finger. I mean, when I first started talking to him, he didn't initially let me tell me that he was married. Initially, when I first started talking to him, I just simply looked at his finger. And I looked at his finger, I seen a ring on it. And I really liked this guy, so I was like, oh no, he's gonna tell me this guy is married. But he was. And so if he doesn't have a ring on his finger, look for a tan line or an indentation. If there's a tan line or an indentation in that finger, that man married, girl. He married. He married. He is married because what he got. Okay, why he take his wedding ring off then? Okay, because if he has a tan line or an indentation in that finger, that means he didn't took that ring off, girl. He took that ring off. Okay, so he can try to get next to you. That's the worst, grimiest, dirtiest married man of all. Well, ain't none of them no good if they married and they trying to mess around with you on the side. Ain't none of them no good if they trying to do that. But if they lying to you and saying that they're single, trying to represent themselves as single, but they're married, well, them the grimiest ones of all. And so you see that tan line, that's what you got to look for. Look at them fingers, girl. Look at them fingers. But you can check the city clerk's office and see if he has a marriage license. You got to do your homework, ladies. Because I know I've heard a lot of situations where women got involved with guys and they didn't even know the guy was married. The guy didn't tell them he was married, and he did a good job of hiding it. The women didn't do their homework. And by the time they find out, they're emotionally invested in the guy. They're head over heels in love. The man then got their nose wide open. And so now they're heartbroken. You know, they dating a guy, a married guy, and didn't even know it. So, ladies, you got to do your homework. You got to do your homework. You know, you got to check these guys out before you date them. You got to check them out. And like I said, give it time. In time, you will find out everything you need to know. Don't give them your body. Don't have sex with them. Just take your time. You will find out everything you need to know. And I think a lot of women run into a lot of these problems, and not just single mothers, but single women in general, run into a lot of these problems when men, when they don't take the time to really get to know the guys. They're so eager to get into a relationship. Um, they don't take the time to get to know the guys, and they don't do their research, and they don't know research. And so they jump into these relationships, and they get emotionally invested in these guys, and these guys running games and pulling fast ones on them, and that's what happens to a lot of women. But you can avoid all that if you just do your homework and take your time to get to know these guys. So those are the and then there's even signs to look for if a man is abusive. There's even signs to look for. Now I didn't, thank God, when I was out there. Thank God I didn't really didn't encounter those type of guys. Thank God. But typically, if a man is overly controlling, overly possessive, overly controlling, and if he seems to exhibit these characters early in the relationship, he exhibit these characteristics early in the relationship, sometimes that's a sign that he may be wind up being abusive. Uh, if he's narcissistic or overly controlling, he trying to act like he own you and everything, and you just met him and all that kind of stuff. That's a sign, that they may wind up being abusive later on in the relationship. So there's signs to look for with that too. And so if you live in a smaller city, you can ask people, you can ask around, you can always ask around about this guy, word of mouth. Word of mouth is always good because if somebody knows this guy, they can pretty much tell you about this guy or whatever if you live in a smaller city. Um, but now we got the internet, we got social media. You can check social media accounts. You could do all kinds of stuff. They got now where you can, you might have to pay a small fee, but you can pay a small fee and find out if this man check your sex offender list to see if they're a sex offender, registered sex offender, because you don't want no sex offenders in your house, particularly around your kids. because they're not even supposed to be around kids. So you could check that. There's a registry that you could check that, check to see if he's on the sex offender list. All that kind of stuff, girl. Y'all can check all that, but you got to do your homework. You got to do your research. It's important because sometimes these women get involved with these men, and they got kids. They let the men come into the house. The man winds up killing the kids, and they were probably 9 times out of 10 there was probably signs these guys exhibited some type of characteristics, some type of signs, and these women ignored it. So you ladies got to be smart, especially when your children is involved. When your children is involved, it's not just you that's going to be affected, but it's your kids that's going to be affected. So you got to be careful, ladies. You got to be on your P's and Q's. You as a mother, you are supposed to protect your children. You are their protector. So you got to do your research and you got to do your homework. You owe that to yourself, you owe that to your children. So, types of men for single mothers to avoid. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this topic. Please like, subscribe, and share. And hit that notification bell so every time I do a video, it'll pop up. I'm not getting, I got almost 700 scribes, but the 700 scribes are not looking at my videos. So hit that notification bell. I need to get my views up. Help me get to that 1,000 subscribe mark. Help a sister out. Okay. Stay tuned. I got some more interesting video topics coming up. Peace and love. This is Sweet June.